Benoit should be in the WWE Hall of Fame for his technical wrestling. Today I'm reacting and responding to your wrestling hot takes on Twitter. I plan on doing these once a month, so go ahead and follow me on Twitter. The link is down in the description. It's at Mr. Santi's app. All right, I'm excited for this. I don't know what I got myself into, but let's respond to your tweets. Chad Gable has the potential to be heavyweight champion. He's really that talented and doesn't need to be in a tag team. I agree with you that Chad Gable is uber mega talented and he's one of the best in-ring technicians that there is in the entire company. He's also an incredibly charismatic guy that just absolutely oozes charisma and is incredibly entertaining on the mic and whenever he's on screen. I just don't think that the WWE sees this level of main event caliber that we as fans see. I think ultimately it's going to require a Daniel Bryan level of fan movement to get the WWE to even consider Chad Gable going for something like a World Heavyweight Championship. I could see him in a one-off storyline, maybe getting a chance, but I don't think that they're ever going to give him the strap unless fans completely revolt on the WWE and demand Chad Gable. But let's be honest, he's doing really great in the role that he's in, and he's nurturing great talent like Maxine Dupree and Otis. And he seems to get television time every episode of Monday Night Raw, so I think he's doing just great. Rhea Ripley is just a Wish version of Chyna. Dude, come on. Who are we kidding here? All right? She is absolutely not a Wish version of Chyna. The two women in the industry that people tend to want to compare to Chyna are one, Rhea Ripley, and two, Jordynne Grace from Impact. And both of them are wildly more talented than Chyna. Chyna was a product and a commodity of her time. There was no woman doing anything close to what she was doing, and no woman that had the same level of physical presence that Chyna did. But there are numerous women that have that same level of physical presence. I mean, I can think of Rhea Ripley, Jordynne Grace in Impact, Nia Jax, as much as everyone seems to hate her. And then we also have the likes of Raquel Rodriguez. And in terms of skill-wise and personality-wise, we have Ronda Rousey. So yeah, Chyna is an absolute legend, and she is a pioneer and paved the way for the concept of the strong female in the WWE. But, you know, when it comes to character, charisma, in-ring ability, Rhea Ripley is leagues and miles ahead of anywhere Chyna ever was. I think it is funny, though, that they both have a similar situation with Chyna and Eddie Guerrero, and of course, Rhea Ripley and his legitimate son, Dominik Mysterio. Austin Theory is actually really good, and people crap on him too much. I'm starting to disagree. I was the biggest Austin Theory fan and Austin Theory apologist. I was the one that was waving the flag that it was a good thing that he lost the Money in the Bank cash-in against Seth Rollins for the United States Championship, because I said it was going to help catapult him to bigger things in the roster. And it did. It landed him a match at WrestleMania with John Cena. But the more that I go back to that John Cena promo where he said that doesn't matter what happens, Theory is going to lose, I think Cena was right. The fans didn't care that Austin Theory won, and that is bad. If the fans don't care that you beat John Cena at WrestleMania in one of his last matches in front of Make-A-Wish kids, you've lost that touch with the fans. So Austin Theory really needs to do something to get that connection back, and I don't know how he's going to be able to do that because he's not being booked and given the opportunities to reconnect with the fans. But it was not the WWE's fault that he lost that connection. I think that that fault lies entirely on Austin Theory. So does he get too much crap? I don't know. I don't think that he gets too much crap. I think that he might get the right level of crap because of the opportunities that he's been handed and his lack of ability to run with those opportunities. So I think that he gets a justified amount of crap. CM Punk should have stayed retired. Oof. All right, yeah, this is definitely a hot take. I'll disagree because I think that Collision right now is probably the best weekly television show for professional wrestling on right now. It's not my fault that no one watches it because it's on a Saturday night and it needs to compete with a ton of things, and it's going to get even worse when it starts to compete with college football. I don't understand what they were thinking with Saturday night, but CM Punk adds a really interesting dynamic, and I think he'll be even more interesting once they finally turn him heel because people want to boo CM Punk right now. So I'm going to say that no, I think CM Punk did the right thing by coming back, and AEW did the right thing by bringing him back. I do think it's a little sketch and weird that they decided to basically give him his own show to keep him away from the people that he fought with. But at least it's turning it out to be a really fantastic show, and CM Punk is the flag bearer of that show. So without CM Punk coming back, I don't know that we get Collision, and I don't think that Collision is as good as it is. So I'll disagree. The NXT Championship is worth more than the Impact World Championship. Look, I don't really think that that's a hot take. I mean, NXT is the more popular of the two. It does more viewers on a weekly basis than Impact. People know NXT more than Impact. I mean, if we're talking about the wider world of professional wrestling fans, not just the super hardcore that live on the internet, more people know about NXT than they do about Impact. So is it worth more? Yeah, duh, just kind of by default. I don't know if this is a hot take. Rhea Ripley has one of the most boring title reigns of a women's championship. I'm inclined to agree here, at least when it comes to an in-ring perspective, because she's basically had no matches and no feuds that really make us believe that she's going to lose. I think her best match came against Natalya on that episode of Monday Night Raw. But aside from that, I don't think that Rhea Ripley has really been in danger of losing this thing. She also did have a great match on NXT against Lyra Valkyria, but again, no one ever thought that Rhea Ripley was in any danger of losing that championship. So yeah, when it comes to in-ring drama and in-ring feuds, it's been very lackluster. It's been very, very bad. But her as champion on screen, backstage segments, I think she's been fantastic. And I think once she finally starts to get those feuds in the ring, and once she finally starts to get those reps and title defenses against legitimate contenders, I think we might go down as seeing this as one of the best title reigns of all time. But I think that still remains to be seen. Triple H was a seriously overrated wrestler who needed to marry Vince's daughter and meddle with backstage politics to get to the top. Wow, dude, tell me how you really feel. Okay, the concept of he needed to marry Vince's daughter, okay, we're going to throw that out because it kind of creates the insinuation that he basically forced Stephanie to marry him, which is obviously silly. I mean, it's just a matter of circumstance that he landed with the boss's daughter. I mean, I don't know, man, that's just love. It works in mysterious ways. The whole meddling with backstage politics, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm not there, but I do hear the rumors, and I do believe that in the 90s and early 2000s, there was a lot of that going on, a lot of backstage politics. I do believe that a lot of Triple H's reign of terror in the Ruthless Aggression era was a lot of backstage politics, even though I do think that a lot of the people that he buried, it ultimately was the right decision. Like Scott Steiner, did you really want him as your WWE World Heavyweight Championship? No, you didn't. But I don't think that he's an overrated wrestler in any capacity. I mean, the man has had absolute classics throughout the years. So to say that he's an overrated wrestler, I highly, highly disagree. Maybe he did meddle with backstage politics to get to where he is. But, when you get to the top of the mountain, you need to stay at the top of the mountain. And I think that his body of work and his ability to tell a story is what kept him at the top of the mountain. So I wouldn't say that he's an overrated wrestler. R-Truth should have won the WWE Championship back in 2011. No, in no world should R-Truth have won at Capital Punishment 2011 against John Cena. Absolutely not. No. LA Knight is overrated and boring. I highly disagree here, although had you said he's overrated and boring in the ring, I would have agreed with you because I don't think that LA Knight is this fantastic in-ring worker, but that's also not the reason why we like him and the reason why he's so over with the fans. We like him because he connects with the fans and he's entertaining and we want to see more of him. Honestly, in-ring work is about 1/3 of the reason why a superstar gets over with the fans. I think the rest of it is all character work and it's all fan connections and charisma that wrestler exudes on the mic and in backstage segments. And when it comes to that part of the business, LA Knight is probably the best that there is right now. Honestly, he really, really is that good. When it comes to that, he is absolutely not overrated and boring. I think he's underutilized, underrated, and incredibly entertaining. But in the ring, sure, overrated and boring. Ziggler ain't as good as people make him out to be. I respect what he's done, and yes, his feud with The Miz was good, but I strongly disagree with the idea that he needs another title run. Just look at back when he won the NXT World title. He almost ruined Breaker's momentum. All right, there's a lot to unpack here, so I'm not going to go into the Braun Breaker stuff because I think that's very, very subjective. I don't think it ruined his momentum. momentum because Braun Breaker is still the hottest commodity to come out of NXT. Now, when it comes to the concept of him not needing another world championship, like, I agree with you. I think that there is a huge sentiment from nostalgic fans that want to see Dolph Ziggler at the top of the card again. And like, the truth is that it's just never going to happen. He was never able to capitalize when he did get to the top of the card. As much as I love him as an in-ring worker and he's incredibly entertaining in the ring, like, he's had his chances. He's had his chances and he's fumbled all of them. Now, the biggest one that he fumbled wasn't his fault. It was a concussion. Those things happen. And should he have gotten another chance after that? I agree. He should have gotten a chance the next year, the year after that, the year after that. But now we're like 8 years, all right, since that world championship win. Actually, no, we're coming up on 10. Actually, maybe 10 years really at this point. Oh my God, man, time flies. And I think we can safely say that dream is dead. All right. They decided to not give him the opportunities shortly after he, had that concussion and had to relinquish the world championship. And so they're just not going to give it to him again. It's just not going to happen. Shane McMahon should have won a WWE championship at one point in his career. Why? Like, are you not satisfied with the fact that he won the best in the world cup or whatever it was in Saudi Arabia? No, of course that Shane McMahon should have never been close to the WWE championship. We are better off as wrestling fans that he never won the damn thing. No. Cody is mid. I guess, like, I don't know in what regard you mean. I mean, this is a pretty blanket statement. I think he's a great in-ring worker. I think he's a fantastic storyteller. Does he meander a lot with his promos and talk about nonsense a lot? I do think so. I do think that a lot of his promos do get a little bit boring, but for the most part, they're good. And for the most part, he, for example, in the Brock Lesnar feud, he's had to build this feud entirely by himself. So, I mean, I think what he's done with what he's been given with the Brock Lesnar feud, I think he's done great. I think he did a really great job of getting us excited, even though it was only a 1 month buildup for Cody versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. I don't know where we can call him mid. I don't know. You know what? When he came back to the WWE, I was the first one waving the flag saying he's just a mid-carder. He's just going to go right back down to the mid-card. But he proved me wrong. I would disagree. I don't think that Cody is mid. Roman Reigns is the GOAT. GOAT being greatest of all time for those that don't know the hip online lingo. I think there's a strong case for it. I think that he is one of those that you need to have in the discussion. I think something that Roman Reigns does better than anyone in the history of the WWE is his ability to get people over that are in his presence, even when he's gone. Seriously, he's so good and so, I don't know, like his aura alone is able to help elevate talent around him to main event levels of caliber. And I don't think that even John Cena had that skill. And in fact, John Cena has said it himself that is Roman's biggest strong suit and something that he lacked in his career. The other piece of evidence that could help towards this argument is that Roman Reigns, I think, completely turned upside down the notion of what you call the greatest WWE champion or world champion of all time. Because before, all we talked about was number of reigns. Ric Flair 16 times, John Cena 16 times. But now he has changed the narrative to how long have you held the damn thing? And that was a narrative that was around in the 60s and 70s. It took nearly 50 years for this narrative to come back. And it took Roman Reigns doing what he's doing at the caliber that he's doing it to bring back that narrative. Because now I don't care how many reigns you have. I care about how long your reign is. Look at Roman Reigns. Look at Gunther. And I think this is a shift that the WWE is going to be taking, where they're going to be focusing on lengthy runs as opposed to multiple runs. Bray should have broken the streak. Okay, so this would have been a situation where Brock Lesnar doesn't win at WrestleMania 30 and then loses to Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 31. I think the venue itself actually hindered these two from being able to tell a decent story because it was in the daytime, because it was in San Francisco at like 3 p.m. And both of these guys are supposed to be spooky, out of these world characters that need the darkness to make them even more interesting, that's a different point. But I don't know, like, even if we look at hindsight, right? Even with hindsight, I don't know that Bray Wyatt would have done anything with that, because Bray Wyatt has been given all of the glitz, all of the glamour, and he's not been able to produce at a main event caliber. I just don't think that breaking the streak would have changed that. I think that it should have been Roman Reigns to break the streak at WrestleMania 32, as much as, like, I don't love that. But if their intention was to elevate Roman Reigns to the top of the moon, they would have been better off by having Roman Reigns be the one to break the streak instead of Brock Lesnar, because I don't think that Brock Lesnar was catapulted by breaking the streak. I think Brock Lesnar was catapulted by crushing John Cena at SummerSlam that year with Suplex City. So, you know what the real answer is? Like, regardless of who should have broken it, you know what the real answer is? It shouldn't have never been broken. That's the real goddamn answer. Chelsea Green has been the best comeback signing for Triple H. You know what? I kind of talked about this in a video that I did this week where I tier ranked all of Triple H's rehires, and I would agree. I agree that Chelsea Green has had the best comeback since being re-signed by Triple H. She's been the most entertaining. She has accomplished the most. She's gotten the most over with fans, and she gets the most TV time, honestly. So, yeah, I agree with this hot take. Chelsea Green has been the best comeback signing from Triple H. Reigns is a spectacular character, but his in-ring skills are mid. Yeah, I don't think that this is a hot take. Respectfully, I think that people put too much emphasis on in-ring skill as the reason why you should be a main eventer. Look, if in-ring skill was the only thing that mattered, then, it wouldn't have been about Austin 316. It would have been about Dean Malenko and his 1,000 different holds. But that's just not the reality of professional wrestling. Professional wrestling is mostly character work, and Roman Reigns has done a phenomenal job at revitalizing his character, and he does amazing character work in the ring. I think he does amazing in-ring storytelling, but yeah, are his in-ring skills mid compared to like a Bryan Danielson, Okada, Seth Rollins, Omega? Yeah, but it doesn't matter because it's mostly all about character work. Undertaker as an actual wrestler isn't all that. If it wasn't for his gimmick, he wouldn't be anywhere near the Hall of Fame. I would disagree because we've seen him change his gimmick up, and he was still one of the hottest things in the WWE when he was the biker, the American Badass, for like 5 years, it seemed. I don't know if I'm exaggerating for how long he was the American Badass, but as long as I can remember, he was still a main eventer during that time, still putting on bangers like, for example, the triple threat match with The Rock and Kurt Angle. Let's not forget the bangers that he put towards his latter half of his career in the WrestleMania streaks. I can think of his match against Randy Orton, match against Edge, the match against Batista, the 2 against Shawn Michaels, the 2 against Triple H. He's had a lot of fantastic matches. And, if it wasn't for his gimmick, he wouldn't be anywhere near the Hall of Fame. Homie, his gimmick was destined to ruin him. It was a time where WWE would just give people stupid gimmicks like, hey, you're the garbage guy. Hey, you're the baseball player. Hey, you're the repo man. Hey, you're the guy that fixes dead people before a funeral. You're the Undertaker. It's a stupid gimmick. It is a ridiculously stupid gimmick. But he's so good that he made that work, and he turned it into a Hall of Fame career. I disagree. I will never, ever agree with the notion that the gimmick made The Undertaker. The Undertaker, the character, the man, I should say, is what made that gimmick work, because that gimmick is fucking stupid. Gunther is the greatest ever Intercontinental Champion. Yep. Roman Reigns beating Cody at WrestleMania 39 was 100% the right call. I was screaming this from the rooftops before WrestleMania 39. Not only was I saying that Roman Reigns should beat Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, but that he needed to, because there was a lot left to that storyline, and people just wanted the quick gratification of taking the title off of Roman and having Cody be the champion. People were saying it was time to... this was the time to implode the bloodline. After this, the bloodline would implode. We could tell the storyline of the bloodline imploding. But if Roman Roman doesn't have the title, you can't tell the story of the bloodline imploding. We're now getting the story of the bloodline imploding, and it only works if Roman is the champion, because if Roman isn't the champion, then he's not the tribal chief, really. And if he's not the tribal chief, then there is no bloodline and there is no story of imploding the bloodline. There was still, honestly, so much meat left on the bone of the bloodline storyline that Cody Rhodes winning that would have absolutely ruined it. Dirty Dom deserves a world championship. On its surface, this is a hot take, especially if you had said this last year. But at the end of the day, I think something that you guys are catching here with this video is that I'm a big fan of character work, and so is the WWE, and ultimately that is what gets over. And right now, Dirty Dom is one of the biggest characters in all of professional wrestling. Could they put a world championship on him? Yeah. If this type of heat continues, he continues to be this popular, this over, and continue to be this much of a heat magnet, then yeah, I do see it happening, because ultimately the WWE is about characters, not just about in-ring work. He's getting better in-ring, but his character work is astronomically good right now. Could they put a world title on him? Yeah, I think so. Chris Jericho's days as a main eventer are done. I agree. I mean, as a main event draw, he's not done, because ultimately he is Chris Jericho, but it is a slog to get through a Chris Jericho match these days. Honestly, like it is difficult to get through a Chris Jericho match. Again, opinion, but I mean, Chris Jericho is one of my favorites of all time. I think he's one of the greatest of all time. But now, man, like it is a struggle to get through a Chris Jericho match. I think a great example was him versus Adam Cole at Double or Nothing. They nearly put me to sleep, and a match that involves Adam Cole putting me to sleep is not a normal thing. That is a significant rarity. That should never happen. And I think the common denominator there is that it's Chris Jericho, and he's kind of putting me to sleep in a lot of the matches that he's been having recently. NXT is currently WWE's A show. Is it WWE's best in-ring show? Sure, but it's not the A show. It never will be the A show. It'll always be a supplementary show, but it's incredibly entertaining. And if you're missing out on NXT, you should be watching NXT. Bray as the Fiend should be the one to dethrone Roman because he never got a rematch for his belt. No, honestly, it's the belt that ruined the Fiend in the first place. The Fiend is a supernatural character that should be beyond caring about championship gold, okay? He shouldn't care about materialistic things. It's when you made him go after materialistic things when you unfortunately showed a human side of him, all right? You shouldn't have done that, because why would the Fiend care about being world champion? He would only care about being world champion if he wasn't actually a Fiend, if he was a human with the same level of greed that everybody has to be at the top and to win the most and to make the most amount of money. And if you bring that context to the Fiend, then you're, oh, well, he's just a fucking guy. He's just like everyone else. He's beatable. And when you make him go after a world championship, inevitably you're gonna make him beatable because he needs to drop the belt at some point. Putting the belt on the Fiend Bray Wyatt was arguably one of the biggest mistakes that WWE has ever done with a character over the last 5 or so years. It is a terrible, terrible idea. Should he have a match at some point with Roman Reigns? Sure. Why not? It'd be interesting. It'd be entertaining. But it shouldn't be for a belt. He should not be chasing for belts. That is what brings this character from this supernatural, they're like, oh my God, we don't understand his rhyme or reason why he's doing the things that he's doing, to, okay, I get it. And being here with a character like The Fiend is a bad thing. Benoit should be in the WWE Hall of Fame for his technical wrestling. Can we stop with the whole Benoit needs to be in the WWE Hall of Fame? Don't get me wrong, like I agree, Benoit as an in-ring technical wrestler is one of the greatest that we've ever seen. But the WWE Hall of Fame isn't there to just glorify in-ring work. It's to glorify the entire body of career that an individual has done. It is there to glorify how that individual has elevated professional wrestling. Has that individual made it more impactful? Has that individual made it more accessible to the masses? And Benoit absolutely does not fit that mold, and he never will fit that mold.